illustrations that indicate that America is a minority population, all of us together. We are not the majority population of the world. There are 2, and soon possibly to be 3, countries that exceed our population. And European ancestry is not the center of the economy of God. He loves us, and He has used us in a significant way. So those broad themes you can feed into. I've taken some unpleasant stands. I will say this: we moved the flags from the platform in our church. I did not. I don't want to be. I have to be careful. I was really shocked in terms of the emotions that that engendered. That was huge. For a certain demographic, I can say this to you as leaders. For those born between 1930 and 1950, all of the patriotism of the great conflict of World War II is in their hearts, but they didn't go to battle. So they consider the defense of patriotism and nationalism their good cause, aside from the cause of Christ, in some cases not aside from the cause of Christ. Their parents who were on the battlefield aren't as animated, because when you watch people being shot beside you, you don't yell about flags as much. It's just everything is less. But that group, which also incidentally, and some of us represent that group, experienced the highest per capita prosperity in the history of planet Earth. That's the era of industry that said, you come work for us for 20 years, you can retire forever at full salary. The reason they promised that is that at the end of World War II, there was one economy left standing in the world, and that was America. All of the rest of the globe was a consumer. And so the metrics of every industry were, this will never end. By the 1960s, you get the one you asked for, Kelly. By the 1960s, Japan was making automobiles. Some of you are old enough to remember the protests. They can't do that. We do that. Detroit does that. They don't have permission to do that. Guess what? They didn't need permission. And as every other economy rebuilt, those promises, and I've talked with people, industry insiders, the vast majority of pensions in the United States are bankrupt, or will very soon be, because those were promises no one could keep. Now, all of that to say, your constituents that were born between 1930 and 1950 are in deep pain. Andy has left Mayberry, he's never coming back. And to recapture the glory days of the 1950s, where most people were at least religious and, with a Christian leaning, where money flowed like water, actual wealth, I'm not talking about dollars, amounts, I'm talking about actual wealth, and where there was unprecedented stability in our world. That's an anomaly that will never be duplicated again. And some of our folk are fighting tooth and nail to bring it back, and think that patriotism is the route to restore it. I don't see anything in the Word of God that indicates that that's going to happen. And I've just opened about 6 cans.
Next session will be starting in 10 minutes.
Yes. I'm going to close in prayer. Brian is. I'm going to leave.